Fox 28 News at 10, the coastal source.
Welcome back. Well, Beaufort author Bernie Schein has a wealth of knowledge on parenting and teaching, and he gives us some tips tonight. Thank you for joining us. You have a new book, well, sort of new. If Holden Caulfield Were in My Classroom. Tell me a little bit about this book. And Holden Caulfield, why him? Character from Catcher in the Rye.
Because he's your classic American teenager. Only he's cynical. He's more cynical. He's more extreme. And I want to make sure I add, he's more negative.
Right.
But he is afraid of intimacy. He's afraid of loving. And when kids get to be preteens, early teens, when they get this age, they also have that fear because, like him, they've been hurt. Now, how does it come out with him? It comes out in the form of put-downs. You keep people away. You know, constructive criticism, a kid might call it, when in fact they're just trying to, zig you. And he's alienated. He's superficial. He does horribly in school. He acts out. As teenagers do. They don't say, I love you, I need you, help me. Instead, they will smoke or drink or be very passive-aggressive or not do their chores or maybe make a few wise comments here and there. And if you're lucky, if that's all it is, those latter two.
Yeah.
And,
And what exactly can you learn from reading this book?
I think what you learn is you see these kids in a whole lot of situations, all right? The kid who is worried that he's gay suddenly going out for the football team, and he's only, he looks like a midget, all right? The kid who has ADD, say, suddenly starting putting people down in literature class, okay? You see all of the kids acting out the way the kids do, and then you see an incredible, I think, sensitivity and beauty and humor underneath it. The kids who steals, in class because he's adopted, and even though his parents are wonderful, he still has that feeling, why did mama give me up? Okay? And so you see the kids, every single thing that can happen to them. Maybe the kid who played with dolls when he was in kindergarten is the one that walks around calling people fags. And you get to see what's behind it, and if you listen closely, underneath that, you see great love. Every one of these stories about every one of these children is a love story, because there's no kid that I've ever taught that wasn't a love story.
Now, one thing you talk about is that perfect parenting is not necessarily right parenting. I think everyone tries to strive to be that perfect parent.
Yeah.
But why is that you don't necessarily have to be that?
Yeah, perfect parenting is bad parenting, because it says to the kid, I have a lot of anxiety about you, and I'd like to share it. And I would like you to be the one that I share it with. And so unintentionally and subconsciously, it makes him anxious. And also, it makes him a failure. Because as a child, no one can be perfect. And so no one can measure up.
Give me some do's and some don'ts that parents can do. Also, in supporting their teachers. Oftentimes, you get into a situation at school, and not only do you have to support them at home, but you also have to support what they do in school. So give me a few quick do's and don'ts about that.
First, you want to listen. And if you have trouble listening, it may be because the child is not saying anything and is lying, or because his problem may touch on one of yours that you're in denial about. If that's the case, find out what it is, get help. And if you're overly worried that he's ADD and you're in denial about it, maybe you had some of those learning problems as a child. So make sure that if you do have the problem, you acknowledge it and that you're open about it with the child, because the child then will feel better about himself and y'all can talk openly about it. That's the first thing. The second thing is don't lecture. Third thing is don't set yourself up as this great example. It shames him and it makes him feel inferior, and it doesn't do anything for his confidence. Note his feelings, because that child may be doing badly in math right now, or English, or what have you, or maybe in athletics. But if he loses his confidence, then you've got a bigger problem. So you want to know what he's feeling. Even though he's doing poorly, does he feel positive basically? Does he feel like he's getting there? Okay? Don't fix the problem. That's just a denial of our own pain when we try to do that. We don't want to hear his. And don't cheerlead when he's down. That's a denial.
Great tips. Thank you so much for being here. And Bernie Schein's book, If Holden Caulfield Were in My Classroom, is available in stores. You can also check out his website, BernieSchein.com. Thank you so much for being here.
So
Great advice. And of course, you can get more in the book. We'll be right back in just a moment.